start of a new quick series that I'm having, and it's called a quick series because it's a snippet. A lot of questions that I get asked on multiple times. So I figured, you know what? Maybe I should just do a quick series with you guys. So let's start off with the first topic, photos. It's a pretty boring topic, but you know, it's pretty essential to what we do. Now, I print my photos on multiple different sizes and whatnot. And I have a Canon XP 8600 printer, and it's a photo printer, and it is fantastic. I use only Mac products. So I have an iPhone, I use my MacBook, I use my iMac for photos, and I use my iPad. So I use an app in here, and it is called Epson Creative Print. You can see it just there. And when I click and go into it, this is my homepage, and you can do so many different things on here. But what I use this app for is to do a photo collage. And this allows me to be able to print photos in multiple different sizes at home when I want to do it and the size that I want to do it. So all you have to do is click on plus. You get two options in this app. You get the option to do borderless photos, and you can see all the different makeups of different collages you can do there. Or I like to do the white border. The reason I do that is because it saves me having to do an extra photo mat, and it saves on the bulk on my photo in my albums, because I used to always do a lot of photo mats, and it just weighs your album down a fair bit. Anyway, in this app, you're able to print everything all the way up to a full A4 size photo. And basically, I'll click on the largest one because just for giggles. So this is a full A4 sheet. If I click on it, it takes me to where my photos are. I have a specific album that I use to print from, and we'll just click on this one because it's black and white and it's funny. And all you have to do is click select. You just tap your photo, click select, click next. It drops it in for you. And if you want to zoom in a little bit, you can zoom in. You can zoom in on little Gizmo, who thought he was amazing with his little tiny puppy teeth. Or you can take it back to where it was, whatever size you like. And then all you do from that point on is click next. And when you click next, it takes you through and gives you the option of what photo paper you want to use, and are you sure this is what you want to do before you send it to your printer. My printer that I use, and if I click print, obviously it will print. I don't want to print a photo of myself that large. So basically, the next question I get asked a lot is, other than the app and how do I print my photos at home, I'm going to try and keep the noise to a minimum, but I'm voice-overing as I'm going. So hopefully it's not too noisy in the background. Now this one is the paper that I print my photos on. This is an inkjet photo mat paper. It is by Epson. I purchased it through Amazon AU. It usually costs me about $35, give or take $1 or so. And I get 50 A4 sheets, and as you know, I print my photos smaller, so I get stacks out of this. I do use a cheaper variety of ink in my printer. I have tried both, and I've noticed no different in the photo quality. I think it's fantastic. And I have switched over to the matte paper because, if you're an OG, you'll know this. I used to have this photo, and can you see why I switched? Is it obvious why I switched? So because of the lighting that I have up the top there, we all have this trouble. Anyone that is recording videos for YouTube, we have the glare issue. So I have simply switched out my gloss photos, as wonderful as they are, to be able to wipe the fingerprints off. Unfortunately, they don't work so well when it comes to bright lights. So that is the paper that I use. That is the app that I use. Now let's talk about actual sized photos. So I have a couple of sizes that I prefer to print for an economy side of things, and because I like to have more than one photo on a layout, but I also, sometimes it's all about the photos and sometimes it's all about the creativeness that's in the background. Sometimes I really like the papers to talk. So sometimes I will print a tiny photo, a smaller photo, like in this particular, sorry, that's probably a little distracting, isn't it? Maybe if I do it like that. I'm trying to not make it too noisy. So basically, this is pretty much the smallest photo that I choose to print these days. I have printed smaller and I do have an example of smaller here for you. Now, the reason I like to have this size, it's pretty much when you're flicking through the album. That's pretty much where I go with it. So on a 12 by 12 sheet, you can see that these would take up a fair amount. If you know, there's the 12-inch mark. So you can see that 9 photos will take up pretty much all of your layout. So that's the smaller size that I like to print, which is a not quite 2 by 2 photo. Now, other than that, the next size that I prefer, if I'm trying to print a story, that's probably the best way I can describe it. It's a story. So this is when Taylor got her braces on, her hospital trip, when she was sort of out of it a little bit. And so that's actually a story. That's an entire, it's not just a single photo that you've taken. This is single photos, but I'm telling the story of the fact that Jennifer can fall asleep absolutely anywhere when she was little. So she was quite a versatile child. So as you can see, a smaller photo works really well for that. But then I do have my one-off photos where I just want to print a story, and it might only have 1 or 2 photos in the story. You know, this one is actually the same. It's not the same photo. No, it isn't the same photo. That's right. I was going to print the same one twice, but I didn't. Now, these guys are slightly larger. I get 4 photos, 4 by 2 on a sheet. This one I get 3 by 3 on a sheet. So, you know, I get an extra photo in there, and sometimes that's a bonus. So they're the size photos that I like to print. I have printed a full A4 before, but it really didn't leave much room for artwork. Now, I'm going to show you some examples of what I like. Now I have to hold this up slightly because it's the old school glossy photos. So this is an example of what I like to do when it comes to these photos. I'm just going to do that so the glare doesn't drive you nuts. So this one, as you can see, it was a monochromatic layout. Just talking solely about the photos. So I've got this one here, they were for all 4 by 6s that I've cut down. And to be honest with you, I really like having the different size photos. I think it adds something to the layout. And because the photos were shiny, I added the shine across my title here, and I love it. It turned out really nice. So that's a different way that you can get a different look with different size photos. I'm going to move this one out of the way because it's glossy. Now, the other thing that I was talking about is the smallest size photo that I like to print now. Now, the photo size that I had here a second ago was this size. This is the size I prefer. I prefer not to go any smaller than that. But because this particular photo collage montage was all just Jen in her school uniform, I didn't mind doing a thumbnail size, and I think it worked for the layout. So you can go down that small. That's just my preference. So that's another example of that. And then of course you've got your 4 by 6 examples. So, you know, this one, 4 by 6, single photo, one layout. You can see all the artwork around it. It gives you plenty of real estate on your 12 by 12. And as far as I'm concerned, Your photo size is completely up to you, and it's exactly what you want it to be. And there is no right and there is no wrong. So thank you so much for joining me with this video, and I will be back tomorrow with another video, or later with another video. Depends when you watch it. Thanks for watching, guys. Chat to you soon. Bye for now.